Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. kevSpec. Well, today we've got a Martini brake fluid upgrade video. So I'm using the Martini RF700 brake fluid. I haven't used this before in my car. I'm currently running just a performance brake fluid, so we're going to see what this stuff's like. Now for you guys tracking or racing your car, there is not much better stuff than this. So if you want to get a hold of this, there is a link in the description. Martini Racing Products is where you get the RF700 fluid. So hope you like the video. As the thumbnail says, yeah, I'm in a bit of trouble over that burnout, guys. So I've had a visit from the police, and Kev's going to have to cop it sweet. All right, it's a bit silly. It's not America. We can't go around doing what they do. So it is what it is, and I'll cop it. And someone's called Crime Stoppers, so Kev's going to have to cop it sweet there. Hope I can get your support. I may lose my license, but anyway, it is what it is. And also, like I said in the outro, I came across young Jordan's car reviews on the internet and looking at YouTube the other night. He's a young autistic kid. Don't give him a hard time, please. You know, he's just trying to start a YouTube channel, but I'm really sure he'd appreciate it. You know, like and subscribe. Check out his videos, Jordan's car reviews. So I'm trying to put the call out there to any YouTubers. I've been in contact with a couple, just trying to get a bit of love in the community, a bit of a collab happening. You know, wouldn't it be great if you know, the kevSpec mobile could maybe run the full boost cars, or Motive DVD, you know, run their GDR or something, you know, in the future. That's what I'd love to do. You know, I want to get into the roll racing and travel around and meet people and do collabs and race other people at tracks, drive to Sydney and Adelaide and whatever if I have to. So just putting the word out there, guys. Any YouTubers catch this, big, little, doesn't matter. I just want to get together with people and help them to help me and be a happy community, and you know, it's beneficial for everyone. If we can all get out there and show some love and hook up together, we can get more videos out there of better quality, and you'll get to see more variety of stuff, which is what YouTube's all about. So guys, as you can probably see, I have my merch. So this is my personal merch. It is not for sale yet, and the merch store is not set up yet, but that's what I've been doing. That's why I haven't put out a video for a week or so. I've been busy behind the scenes, designing, setting up websites, doing all the things you need to do. We're very close. The launch should be in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. What do you think? So this is one of my first designs. Bit of kevSpec merch. Now I'm not sure if I'll put the subscribe and, you know, check out my channel and your merch, but stay tuned for that one. Merch store's coming online in a couple of weeks. Alright guys, hope you like the video. Stay safe, love yous, and just remember, it ain't wrong, it ain't right, it's kevSpec. You! Right guys, so we're just doing a brake fluid complete change today. It's not the best way to do it at home. I haven't got someone to help me pump the brake pedal. So first thing we've got to do is remove the brake fluid from the reservoir. I've removed the cap and I've wrapped it in a rag, nice and clean. What I'll say is just be ultra careful whenever you're dealing with brake fluid, guys. It will destroy your paint, so if you drop anywhere, get it off straight away with water, and just be really cautious. I've got a guard cover here and plenty of rags, so just be really cautious when you are playing with brake fluid. You can see I'm soaking it up here just with toilet paper. It does work. Yes, it will leave a tiny bit of lint behind, but we're going to completely clean out the reservoir with a clean rag with brake cleaner when we're finished. So just soaking it up here, and as you can see, this is on my second soaking. Just be careful, try not to drip it anywhere. Straight into a bucket and just repeat the process. And like I said, I just can't reinforce enough, just be ultra careful. But providing you take some precautions, just gently dunk it in. Yes, you can use a rag, but I find toilet paper is much quicker and does a better job of soaking it up. It does quite a good job. You probably only need to do this 3 or 4 times. We're nearly there. We've probably got over half of it sucked out already. Oops. Okay, so I've got 90% of the fluid using the toilet paper method, and I've had a quick look in there to make sure there's no little bits of toilet paper or no lint, and it's you know, to the eye it's pretty clean.
But we're going to give it a thorough clean out now with a clean rag and brake cleaner, just to make sure there's no lint, contaminants, any gunk in there whatsoever. We've got a nice clean, I like to use cloth t-shirts, or this is a bed sheet, so it's a nice, you know, old bed sheet that's nice and clean. So I'm going to give it just a good, you know, liberal spray with brake cleaner. Not soaking, but it's, you know, it's pretty wet. I'm just going to give it, the master cylinder, a good wipe out. Just to make sure there's no contaminants in there whatsoever. No little bits of lint from the toilet paper or any of that crap's in there. And just make sure it's as squeaky clean as you can get it. Make sure you try and get in all the nooks and crannies. Make sure that master cylinder is squeaky clean. Right. And just to be sure, we'll go over it one more time. Can never be too sure with a braking system. Cleaner is better, obviously. I'm just giving it the final check over and wipe. This has only got a little bit of brake cleaner on it now. Just make sure she's 100% clean. I know I've probably said it 30 times, but especially at home when you haven't got all the right tools, you must overcompensate for making sure you're doing things thoroughly and cleanly, especially with brake fluid or fuel systems. You can never be too clean. So that is looking pretty Mickey Mouse. I'll give you a look. So, as you can see, that is pretty clean. There's a tiny bit of gunk down in that corner, which I'll probably get out with a screwdriver. Okay, but make sure the two holes have still got fluid in them. See those two holes? The two holes at the front and back is what actually supplies fluid to the master cylinder. You don't want them to be empty, because otherwise you'll get air blockages and air in your system. So make sure she's squeaky clean, and we'll go to the next stage. So once you're happy that the master cylinder is 100% clean, you can start to fill it up with your new fluid. And just remember, any little bits and bobs that are in the bottom that I have missed will get pushed through the system anyway and flushed out. So nice fresh sealed bottle. It's always what you want when you're using brake fluid. Once again, guys, just be real careful when you're using this stuff that you don't spill any. You want to fill it right to the top. Okay, we'll start bleeding these brakes. All right, so first stage, what I always do is I go around and crack all the bleed nipples. Now the bleed nipple is just on the caliper here. Now I highly recommend you use one of these guys. It's a pipe spanner, so it's got the special wrapped around fittings. If your brakes aren't bled regularly, or you have any issues with your the nipples, because if these seize up you can be in a world of hurt. So it's always a good idea to crack them first with the pipe spanner, just so there's no chance of, because these strip pretty easy, these okay, so that's just cracked. I've just cracked it and nipped it back up. I'll go around the car and crack them all, and we'll come back and do it. All right. So you always start from the furthest away from the master cylinder. So obviously on a right-hand drive vehicle that has the master cylinder on the right-hand front, the left-hand rear brake line is the longest line in the vehicle. So we'll start here. Typically this will need the longest. Obviously both rears will need the longest. I like to get, I want to see new fluid here before I go anywhere. I believe it just makes the job easier than trying to do a bit and then come back. So I'm going to start at the left-hand rear. So as I said, I cracked all the nipples before. Let me trusty bottle here. I like to use the open ender once the lines are cracked. Obviously, it just makes it a little bit easier to a bit more workable. Okay, so put your line on here. And this, providing you've got the right line, will form a good little seal. So just crack your nipple. Only need to, as you can see, only need sort of quarter, maybe half a turn, sort of there. Right. So, as you can probably see, even me just cracking that fluid, see how it's slowly coming out? The camera's going to zoom. Actually focus, so you can see the fluid slowly coming out. So obviously if we were to leave it like that, 3 hours later we might have one caliper done. So you need to force the fluid through the system, and the best way to do that is the brake pedal. So when you're doing this, guys, and the older the vehicle, the more important it is. This has actually got a new master cylinder on it a couple of years ago, but I highly recommend you just go easy on the brake pedal, yeah? It's not... So the brake pedal hasn't been past this point in a long time, so just gently start pushing the fluid through. You don't have to... Just slowly let it come back up. Pause for a sec. And you must give it time to come back up. If you just keep pumping and pumping, you don't give the master cylinder time for the piston in there to return to its spot, you end up with really short pedal. So you just keep an eye on your brake fluid level. Now obviously I can't see in there, so you'll have to get out of the car and check it periodically. Just nice and slow. Now I'll show you, so that's, you know, sort of 8 pumps. We're going to need a lot more than that. I'll just show you the result. Probably should have a little bit in the bottle now. Getting there. So it's filled up the line. So you can see we're starting to get some brake fluid coming into the bottle. So that's our old yucky brake fluid. It's not that yucky as you can see in my car. Yeah, that's the old brake fluid. It's probably nearly 2 years old. It's time for a change. Obviously with the skid the other day would have cooked it a little bit. And just while the car's up in the air waiting for its new wheels, what better chance to get a brake fluid flush done. Got plenty of time, so we'll keep pumping this fluid through until I'm confident that I've at least got one full reservoir, like one clean reservoir from the front through to the back. So I'll just show you. Now even after sort of 6 pumps, we've still got plenty of fluid. But be careful, guys, I cannot stress this enough. If you let the reservoir one out, you're going to get air in your lines and you're going to have to start all again and probably waste a litre of $140 brake fluid. So make sure the reservoir does not run any lower than probably the bottom of that sticker sort of area. And just keep topping her up. So I'll keep going. Like I said, this one's going to be the most painful one. This one will need a lot of pumping through. And like I said, guys, I guesstimate one full reservoir will pretty much get me, you know, I've been doing this a while, so I don't know how many brake bleeds I've done in workshops and when I was working at dealers, but pretty much one full reservoir should get clean fluid to that left-hand rear caliper. So that means the line that comes from the front will have clean fluid from the reservoir all the way to the back left caliper. Try not to go all the way to the floor if you can possibly avoid it, because remember, your brake pedal doesn't go to the floor. Even in emergency braking, it should never go to the floor. So the master cylinder piston's never been there before, and they don't obviously like it too much. Like I said, on the older cars, I've seen plenty of master seals fail, as you're doing a brake bleed. Alright, I'll keep going and I'll come back when we're a bit further along. Okay guys, so that's pretty much one full master cylinder through the left-hand rear, and you can see the colour of our dirty fluid. Yeah, you can see we're starting to get, so it's a little bit darker in that part of the line. See, it's sort of dark, but up here see just starting to get some fresh fluid now. So I'm going to give it just a little more. Once again, you can't overdo this really, guys. You know, you can waste, like I said, quite expensive brake fluid. So that's about as far as I've let that go down, yeah? Probably not even to the bottom of that sticker, but I'd rather top it up now than make a kevSpec mistake and let it run out. So you can see the two holes are still covered with fluid. Front and back, you want to make sure they're always covered. Okay, so I've just put the final bit of fluid through, or topped up the reservoir, I should say, refilled it. We're just putting that final bit of fluid through. Like I said, I'd rather make sure that this first stage is more overkill than anything. Now, I don't know, that's probably about 15-20 pumps all up. But as we go around the gar, it'll get progressively shorter. Obviously the front Brembos will need a little bit more because they're double nippled. Now this is the little bit tricky side of it, gang. So typically, you know, if you're doing a two-person bleed, mechanical bleed like this with someone sitting in the car pumping the pedal, you'd typically be at the back corner going pump, 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 and then hold the brake pedal down. So as they're holding the brake pedal down to the floor, you lock the nipple off. If you don't do that and you lock the nipple off when the pedal's on its way up, it's actually going to suck air into the system. So you must have the pedal locked down before you block the nipple off. Now, me, myself, I love, the best way I believe is to lock the nipple off as you catch the pedal halfway down, you know what I mean? So there's fluid still slowly dribbling out, and you actually stop them from going to the floor by locking the nipple off. I can't do this at the moment, so we're just going to have to be ingenuitive and do this. So I'm just going to bring the seat forward, which will push the brake pedal down. It's probably about as far as we can go without damaging the seat, and I'll lock that nipple off quickly. Lock that nipple off, and it's done. Okay, so now we can go to the other rear. Make sure that's nice and tight. Okay, so we're back at the right-hand rear of the vehicle, guys. I've obviously released the driver's seat to release the brake pedal. Once again, it's just slowly oozing out, but we're just going to force that through. So this won't take as much. Obviously, the master cylinder's already full of the new fluid. The line's already full of the new fluid. We've just pretty much got to flush this corner in the caliper. So we'll proceed to do the same procedure as the other side by pumping the pedal through. I've obviously checked my master cylinder. Just going to check the fluid condition. Yeah, see, that's starting to come clean already. Alright, so just at the front now, guys. And obviously there's two bleed nipples on the front of a Brembo. To be honest, I don't know what's the correct way to do this, but I'm doing it my way. I'm going to start on the inside, I'm going to go to the outside, and I'll probably do them again at the end. So, same procedure, pump the pedal through until you see clean fluid. Okay, so we're just doing the outside of the caliper now, same procedure, but I'll leave it recording just so you can see the fluid going through. Alright, so I'm confident I've got enough fluid through. I'm just going to lock off the nipple. we'll go to the other side. Right, so same again at this side. Obviously I've been maintaining, as I said, the brake fluid level. It's dropped a bit from the other side, so we'll top her up and keep going. Okay, so once again I held the pedal down with the screwdriver with the driver's seat, so the brake pedal was 3/4 of the way down. I'll lock that nipple off. And repeat. Alright, so that's all 4 corners done. Okay, so that's that side finished. Just going to give this cap a quick clean. I don't know if you can see this and if the video is going to show it up clearly, but if any moisture is going to hide in the system or in the reservoir, it's going to hide under the cap. So make sure you take the little rubber diaphragm out. They just pop out, they sit in there like that. Alright. Make sure you take this out and give it a really good clean, because as you can see, you know, this brake fluid was only changed a year or so ago. There is moisture in there. Brake fluid actually attracts moisture. It's a hygroscopic fluid, which never makes sense to me, but that's just the design of it. For whatever it needs in its braking properties, apparently it has to be hygroscopic as well, and obviously a fluid that attracts water is a major no-no in braking systems. That's why it's recommended you flush your brake fluid every 2 years or 40,000 Ks. And I do it, you know, every probably 15,000 Ks, if that. Give it a good wipe. Same with this guy. They pop out these little, see these things, they pop out. Make sure you clean off all the muck, anything that's on them. Once again, this is a new master cylinder, so there's no real build-up of gunk. And I'm a really big believer in changing all your fluids as much as you can afford to, really, without being silly, you know. But if you can afford to change your oil once a month, do it. If you can change your brake fluid every 6 months or every 3 months, do it. Like, it's only better for your system and your car. Wonder why your car runs so well when it's brand new, apart from everything working the way it should, is all the fluids are brand new, everything's sealing properly and working at its utmost. Now my little Pulsar, 340,000 K, mint. No leaks, auto works fine, coolant, nothing. Why? Genuine lubricants. I even change the power steering fluid on that thing every 2 years. Like, it costs stuff all to do at home. A couple of litres of this, a couple of litres of that, a couple of hours of your time. And it really prolongs the life of your steering racks, engine, you'll get less oil leaks, all that stuff. Alright. So looking squeaky clean. That can go back on. Obviously we've checked the fluids at the correct level. Okay, so last thing's clean up. Now before you put these little, let me show you. So most brakes have a little nipple here. See this fella? He covers that, yeah? Stops water getting in there. Obviously remember we keep going on about water's a big no-no for braking systems. So give the brakes a really good wash down with water. Okay, just hose them off, whatever you got. I've got a watering can for today that'll get 90% off it, and also give the master cylinder a bit of a hose off. So before you put all these little covers back on, give it a good hose off. So So I just got me trusty bucket of water. Yeah. Hey. Relax, mate. I don't know how many can do that, but I just opened a can by kicking it over. So like I was saying, grab your watering can, and just give it a good hose off, yeah? I said water is the best thing for cleaning up brake fluid. Get a big hose off. Same at the back. Now yes, typically, if I had wheels on the car, I'd be straight to the hose or straight down the car wash. But obviously, in these current conditions, can't do either of those things, so just give them a good water. And yes, in a perfect world, once again in a workshop, you blow off all these lines. I'll just grab a bit of toilet paper once again, just give them a good dry off, and that's job done. Now obviously, one last important thing. Whenever you bleed your brakes, before you drive the vehicle, you must make sure you've got a hard brake pedal, yeah? Plenty of times I've seen apprentices jump into a car, done a brake bleed, especially a vacuum bleed, which for some reason you get an even worse pedal. You definitely need to pump it up after that. They jump in a car after a brake bleed and lo and behold they've got no brakes and they nearly hit the wall. So once you've fully finished, you're happy with the vehicle, always a good idea to make sure that there's no rags or toilet paper or anything that's going to stop us from starting the vehicle. Just going to start her up and make sure I've got a good brake pedal, because I've seen it too many times before. People take for granted that they've got a good pedal and they forget. Alright, feels good. Nice and rock hard. So that is job done, people. Obviously, just be careful the first time you go out and brake. Make sure that everything's, you can always go around the nipples again, make sure they're tight. Nothing like a tight nipple. So there you have it, gang. One brake fluid flush by kevSpec using the Martini RF700 racing brake fluid. Hope this was helpful. Here's our dirty fluid. As you can see, worthy of a change. You can't really see in there, but it's at least sort of up to there. Probably see that. So we've got all our nasty fluid out and the fresh Martini in. We're just on our first road test here, so I've just left home. I'm just checking that I've got, you know, a good brake pedal, and it's fine. So initial feel, actually probably a tiny bit firmer actually, which it should be after a brake bleed. You should end up with, you know, a bit of a firmer pedal. You usually have a little bit of air in your lines over time through whatever circumstances. Once again, getting back to that fluid being hydroscopic. So moisture will get in the system, and flushing it usually brings your pedal up, but I'm just noticing it's a little firmer, which is good. So I'll let everything come up to temperature and see what it's like when it gets warmer. So just on that note, guys, with your brakes, as you're upgrading your brakes, the whole point of upgrading brakes is to get rid of brake fade, pretty much. You're upgrading usually larger and more efficient products. But as you upgrade, so you're trying to get rid of heat and you're trying to make the brakes be able to cope with more punishment and load. So you usually upgrade to better pads usually, and better discs as a first stage. And if you're lucky and got cars like ours, you've got bolt-on options like Brembos and stuff. So putting larger brakes on again will then increase the heat dissipation even more. So I noticed when I went from the factory turbo brakes to the Brembos, light years ahead. But just on the brake thing, just watch yourself, guys. You know, some guys might want to bigger and better, you know, on a street car. I want to get the biggest and baddest brakes. I want to get the craziest race track pads I can get. Not always great, so just remember there's a limit. You'll probably notice in your standard cars, the brakes get worse as you go on. So, I mean, the longer the drive, more heat, coming off a freeway, you know, coming down a mountain, and when you've been to the snow with your family or something, you'll notice on a standard car, the more you punish your brakes, the worse the pedal gets. The beauty with upgrading brakes, the more you upgrade, the better the pedal gets, which is what you want. I know it's hard to imagine, but that's the whole point of upgrading your brakes. So when you do get into the hot stuff, they actually work better. They're designed to work with heat. Your rotors are designed to dissipate heat better. Your brake fluid won't boil because you've got high quality stuff in there. All of these things add to better brake performance. But what I'm getting at is this car's setup's almost on the limit for the street, I believe. See, I'm just noticing now, as it's getting hotter, the pedal's getting better. Like I'd need to use less. You know, the brake fluid wouldn't even be up to temp yet. So yeah, you can go too far. These high performance products don't work as well cold. So you go putting your medium street pad or your street track pad in, they don't work quite as good cold. You've still got brakes, don't get me wrong, you can still emergency brake, you've still got plenty of brakes, they're just not efficient. I've caught myself out daydreaming a couple of times in the morning and expected to have that, you know, beautiful bite and light pedal application that I normally have, and I, you know, got a bit close to a car because the brakes just weren't up to temp yet. Now, like I was getting back to, you can go too far. So guys, just watch what pad you go with, because you can go too far and the thing will be very noisy and just not perform well in cold to medium conditions. Alright, so I didn't film me bringing the car up to temperature. I'm just going to get a little bit more speed and see how it's all coping when it's all warmed up. I'll try and get it warmed. You know, you'll never get it hot on the street, obviously, and I don't want to attempt to, but yeah, we'll just see how she is once she's nice and warm. But so far, so good. I can notice it seems the warmer the brake fluid gets, the better the pedal's getting. Now, my brakes always sort of got better with heat, but I can just feel there's something a little bit more bitey, a little bit more, I don't know. The brake fluid's definitely made a difference, 100%. Freeway speeds now, you know, 90, 100 sort of Ks. I haven't got anyone behind me, so I'm just going to give it a light, you know, sort of brake, see how it's at 100. Yeah, definitely only just have to touch the pedal. Yeah, really nice. Just a really nice solid feel. And as you're slowing down, it's like you need to use less pressure. Like, you can feel the brakes, you know, getting hotter as you're going through your braking process, and it feels like I can actually lift my foot off a bit as they get hotter. They just seem to grab better. So, success. Martini brake fluid for the win, 100%. So we're about to come off the freeway now, so I'll be able to sort of jump on them fairly hard here. That was probably a nice firm sort of 1/2 to 3/4 firm. Just plenty of stop. You can just feel it grabbing. So yeah, 100%. That's success. Martini brake fluid for the win, guys. Highly recommend it. Obviously I can't test it in high performance track conditions. I'm not even going to attempt that on the street, like I said. But I know what the car was like before in the mountains and under heavy braking. And even before with just the off-the-shelf, you know, racing type brake fluid, it was pretty level now with that Martini in it, so highly recommend it. Get yourself some if you want that ultimate no brake fade feeling. Look, that's about it for me today. I'm not going to do an outro in the shed. I'll just finish the outro here, I think, providing the GoPro footage is good enough. So sorry it's dragging out a bit. The wheel giveaway, I'm getting there, guys. Had a lot to do this week. Like I said, I've got something exciting to release in the next couple of weeks. Very busy setting it up. Yeah, so like I said, guys, successful test. This Martini brake fluid's absolutely great. So I'm not going to do a studio outro. We'll just leave it there today. I hope you like my video of how to flush brake fluid at home, DIY. You know, it's not the perfect way to do it, but when you're at home and you haven't got help and you've got basic tools, you make it work the best you can, and that's what I did. So just a massive shout out to Martini again for supplying the brake fluid. Stay safe and love yous. Look forward to the next video. The wheel giveaway is happening. I'm ripping into those wheels probably tomorrow or the next day, start paint stripping them, so probably do a bit of a, you know, part 1, 2 and 3 type thing. And yeah, hope yous are all staying well, and don't forget to subscribe. Hope you like the video. Love yous. And like I said in the intro, I hope I did put this in the intro, go and check out Jordan's car reviews. Young Aussie guy. Don't give him a hard time or you'll have me in the channel to answer to. But young bloke, autistic, much like my son. Funny, same name as my son. And yeah, he's trying to do some car reviews there, so jump on there, you know, give him a bit of a like, give him some support. Young bloke trying to live his dream, so you'd probably really appreciate the likes and support. So go and check out Jordan's car reviews. Alright guys, that's enough out of me. Stay safe, love yous. You.